What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Two Blue vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about a topic that I've seen a lot of you guys bringing up in the comment section, which is, now that we've seen a sample of how far Sarada has progressed in the time skip, has she actually trained with Kakashi during the time skip? Also, if you haven't already seen the chapter review for Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 2, that video will be linked in the description box down below. In all honesty, I can see why so many people are asking that question after the last chapter, because after the ending of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the question of who is going to train Sarada was something that quite a few people have asked. But as we look at whether or not Kakashi trained Sarada, I do want to bring up one thing in particular that I think might be an obstacle for this actually having happened. Just based off of the introduction chapter of Boruto Two Blue Vortex, it appears as if Sarada and her mission to stay on the lookout at the condo that Kawaki lives with Ada and Damon is something that Shikamaru expects her to pretty much remain there 24/7 in that other building that's adjacent to them. Shikamaru was going off on her for not being there and telling her to return to her mission, and it seems as if she might have only been allowed out occasionally, like say when she goes to visit the Hokage office, or like when someone like Ada is bored of being inside the house and wants to go shopping or something, then she's obviously going to be allowed to leave, because we saw in the past that with Ada's character and how when she reaches that level of boredom that she's allowed to do as she wants, and so the people who are supposed to keep guard over her, those people have to follow her around. That's the main thing I could see being a problem for Sarada. However, there are workarounds to that when we really sit down and we think about it. Sarada's guard duty takes place out in the boony section of the area surrounding the village. That would be an ideal place for a type of training to occur, but it will require Kakashi to travel out that way in order to oversee a training, and the dots aren't too hard to connect towards that actually being the case. Following the death of Naruto and Sasuke leaving with Boruto, the accused Hokage killer, it's not too big of a stretch to say that Kakashi would seek out answers beyond the information that Shikamaru gives him concerning the death of Naruto, which obviously Kakashi would believe because it's Naruto's son Kawaki saying that he died, and Ada is backing up the lie that Kawaki's telling everyone and taking advantage of the Shinjutsu, basically making people think that Kawaki is Naruto's child. But that could be enough to spark that conversation with Sarada to see what she has to say, and the topic of training might be something that gets brought up when this does occur, because narratively Kakashi is the only one truly suited to guide her through what is about to be a really rough time period for Sarada. Nobody in the village has enough knowledge about the Mangekyo Sharingan to train Sarada other than Kakashi. Sakura obviously knows quite a bit because she was married to Sasuke, and we saw in the anime she has a huge concern about the day that Sarada awakens the Mangekyo, but Kakashi is the only person who is poised to get the most out of Sarada without her making the mistake her father did, which is use his Mangekyo Sharingan so extensively that it results in his Sharingan going blind after a few battles. Sasuke's Sharingan burned out way too quick. That Sharingan tapped out faster than Naruto did that first night with Hinata. Minato ain't the only yellow flash of Konoha. Granted, Kakashi had it when he was a teenager, but he never knew he had that Mangekyo until the events of Naruto's time skip, where he discovers he has a Mangekyo and he had begun to train himself to use it. And based off of Kakashi and Itachi's actual conversation, Itachi was implying that Kakashi knew about the Mangekyo's eyesight going away the more that it's used, which was our first sign that Kakashi actually had the Mangekyo, and so Kakashi is the only one suited to train Sarada on using these powers. He's had the Mangekyo. He knows the rough limit of where blindness begins. He can caution Sarada, and he's also used the Susanoo when Obito's chakra flew into his eye, and Obito briefly allowed him access to both Mangekyo's Sharingan before Obito's chakra left with the afterlife. Kakashi would be able to walk her through figuring out the limits to the two powers that she gets in each eye and how to use the Susanoo, potentially using it with her other ninjutsu like the Chidori and whatever Mangekyo Sharingan power she has, because Kakashi's done it previously, and so he could walk her through on how to actually do that. The other benefit to Kakashi stepping up for Sarada is that it provides a distinct difference in her Hokage path in terms of the steps that she takes to get there, whereas the current Hokage Shikamaru is obviously not supportive of her and he talks down to her. Having Sarada be supported by a former Hokage, sensei to the 7th Hokage and student of the 4th Hokage would be something that truly adds to Sarada's path, moving forward when she does become Hokage, especially when everything is all said and done and the Shinjutsu is eventually reversed. In terms of the narrative benefit to Sarada training underneath Kakashi, if there was anyone who could train her and get the most out of her, is Kakashi. He's been exactly where she is in terms of not having the best stamina, but needing to be able to handle fights in a strategic manner to shut them down quickly, and he knows exactly firsthand how much chakra consuming the Mangekyo is, but also the benefit that comes from the amp that Mangekyo Sharingan gives. Look at what he was able to do with someone as stupid as Naruto, where Naruto needed to be fed the information on chakra nature in bite-sized bits because it was too complex for him to understand, and Yamato literally had to draw stick figures, and Naruto basically had to picture everything in his head like hand puppets in order to grasp it like a toddler watching three little monkeys jumping on the bed on My Little Baby Bump so they can learn how to count. It was the same thing for Naruto. So look at what he did, starting with the bottom of the barrel in terms of actual intelligence like that, and contrast what Kakashi was able to do with two prodigies and Sasuke, who learned lightning release chakra nature on the Kakashi in only a few days, and what he did with Boruto, who after a few weeks of training on the Kakashi made two different Rasengans. He's the one person who can walk Sarada through the best path moving forward to get the most out of her Chidori, and depending on the Mangekyo Sharingan powers, he would be able to help her apply it to whatever Mangekyo powers she has and help her come up with other applications of the Chidori that do away with the need to apply it as a thrusting jab requiring high-speed movement, similar to how Sasuke developed the various uses that he did during the time skip, which we know Kakashi has begun to mimic as far back as when he created Purple Lightning in the first year after the 4th Ninja War, because Kakashi was shown using Purple Lightning as a replacement for the Raikiri and was able to use that jutsu in the way that Sasuke did with his various bits of the Chidori. Sarada training under Kakashi makes a ton of logical sense when you really sit down and you think about it. Taking it a step further, Kakashi has shown that he's both a patient as well as an observant teacher, who looks for ways to build his student up through their strengths while slowly building up their weaknesses into strengths. He saw Sakura had a penchant for chakra control and worked with her on genjutsu off screen, which in turn allowed her to see Kotetsu and Izumo's genjutsu before the Chunin exam's written test, and allowed her to break Kabuto's genjutsu during the 4th Ninja War, and eventually her skill reached a point where she was the only one out that Hanabi rescue team from Naruto the Last to break out of Tsuneri's genjutsu on their own unassisted. He built up Naruto by using Naruto's massive chakra pool and outside the box nature to come up with shadow clone training methods in order to speed up Naruto's progress. It might not have took Naruto out of that picture book phase, but it did speed him up to where he did several years worth of training in only a few weeks to master wind release, and after that he was shown taking the very method that Kakashi came up with in order to get around that issue of needing to gather nature energy in battle by having shadow clones do it for him, because otherwise it'll be near impossible in a fight unless he was able to pull a Jiraiya and get somewhere long enough to gather the nature energy. Look, with all that being said, while this does seem like a cool idea, and I can definitely see some ways like narratively you can justify having all this happen, a big part of me thinks that we're gonna find out that Sarada didn't train with Kakashi. I don't think that's gonna be the case. I would be pleasantly surprised if it was the case. I mean, after all, Kakashi's one of my favorite characters and Sarada's one of my favorite new gen characters, but I'm not too sure if that's the route this goes. That being said, there's a chance to do something truly special here if you do have Kakashi as the one training Sarada, because despite what a lot of ill-informed people are saying, Kakashi without the Sharingan is stronger than the Kakashi you saw in the 4th Ninja War, fighting the version 2 Edo Tensei Tail Beast, fighting against Madara, fighting against Obito. Losing the Sharingan means that he lost the Hack's nature of the Sharingan Eye Hypnotism and the Sharingan Eye Insight, which predicts movements, and the Mangekyo Sharingan power of Kamui, but Kakashi overcame it by taking the chakra needed for stamina to use the Sharingan and Mangekyo. You saw that huge chakra increase in terms of how he applied it for stamina during the 4th Ninja War, and all that chakra now is used to boost his physical stats, topped off with chakra control, where he's pulled off some very impressive feats in the time since he became Hokage. But that's the joys of Naruto Shippuden and Boruto Naruto Next Generation. It's not animating everything that took place. Most people are unaware of things like that, so Kakashi video coming soon, but Kakashi's more than capable enough to work with Sarada as a student. Do you guys think that Sarada trained under Kakashi during the time skip? Who do you think trained her? While you think that over, click here to watch that Boruto Two Blue Vortex chapter review.